You know, there's this weird, unspoken moment in the journey of pretty much every successful UK business. You've worked so hard, you've grown, and boom, you hit that first million in revenue. On the outside, everyone thinks you're crushing it. But on the inside, something just feels off. A little shaky, maybe? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on that exact feeling and show you the way out.
This quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's that thought that keeps so many founders staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. You're looking at what should be a healthy, growing business, but you've got this gut feeling, this nagging anxiety that you're just flying blind. Look, this isn't some unique fear you have, it's a super common stage of growth, and it actually has a name.
Welcome to what we call the success trap. It's this really tricky plateau, usually somewhere between 1 and 5 million pounds in revenue, where your growth starts to create this kind of financial fog. Your business has gotten way more complex, but your actual insight into its financial health, that hasn't kept up. And the result is this crazy paradox. The more you grow, the more uncertain you feel. So does any of this sound familiar to you? A VAT bill comes in late and it just feels like a gut punch? Payroll month rolls around and things feel uncomfortably tight? Or maybe you land a huge new client and instead of celebrating, you feel this spike of panic. Look, these aren't just random business stresses. They are very specific symptoms that you've walked right into that fog. Every single one is a blinking red light that your old way of doing things is about to break.
Okay, so here's the most important point I want you to hear. Feeling this way does not mean you failed as a founder. Actually, it's the total opposite. It means you've succeeded enough to create a whole new level of complexity that, honestly, the business just isn't built to handle yet. This is a structural problem, not a personal failing.
So let's get into the why. Why does this happen? What is really causing this financial fog to roll in? Because it's not just random chaos, right? It's a set of very concrete, identifiable issues that pop up when a business scales up without the right kind of financial engine in place. It almost always boils down to these 4 things. 1. Emotional cash flow. 2. Fear-based pricing. 3. You, the founder, have become the bottleneck. And 4. You're getting financial reports that look clean but are basically useless. Let's break each one down real quick. First up, emotional cash flow. This is when you run the business by just glancing at the bank balance and thinking, yeah, it looks okay. It's managing by vibe. The alternative, strategic cash flow, is when you're making decisions based on actual forecasts. That gives you a predictable runway, and trust me, it completely eliminates those nasty surprise tax bills. Then we've got pricing. Oh man, so many founders are just terrified to raise their prices. You're worried you'll lose clients, so you just keep kicking that can down the road. But in the meantime, your costs are creeping up and your profit margins are just silently getting squeezed to death. You're basically undervaluing your own business, all because of fear. And this is a big one. I want you to ask yourself this question and be really honest. Are you still the one approving every single expense, checking every invoice, making every single call on pricing? If the answer is yes, then you, my friend, have become the bottleneck, and the business simply cannot grow any faster than your personal ability to handle all those little details.
Okay, so how do you fix all this? This is where the idea of a virtual CFO comes in. And please, don't think of this as just another outsourced service you're buying. I want you to think of it more like hiring a strategic co-pilot whose entire job is to sit in the cockpit with you and navigate a way out of this financial fog.
So to put it simply, a virtual CFO, or a vCFO, is that senior-level financial expert your business desperately needs right now, but at a fraction of what it would cost to hire someone full-time. They don't just do the books. No. They actually join your leadership team to build a proper financial engine and, most importantly, to create absolute total clarity.
Right, so what does this transformation actually look like in practice, day to day? How does your business really change when you go from just trying to survive in the fog to having a crystal clear view of the road ahead?
Well, the shift it's huge. You go from making decisions based on a vibe to making them based on actual data. You go from getting hit with surprise tax bills to having predictable cash flow. You stop being a financial firefighter and you start finally focusing on strategic growth. It really boils down to this. Fear gets replaced by confidence, and that feeling of uncertainty gets replaced by a clear, actionable plan.
So, what does a vCFO actually do? Well, first, they make everything visible. They become like financial detectives, hunting down all those hidden profit leaks you didn't even know existed. They build systems that make your growth predictable and safe. They help you turn your pricing into a strategic weapon, not a source of fear. And they protect you from those financial blind spots, the stuff you don't even know you don't know.
But here's the secret. Here's the thing that nobody ever really tells you. The biggest change isn't in the spreadsheets. It's not even in the bank account. The most profound transformation happens inside you, the founder. It's honestly like upgrading your own internal operating system. You stop leading from a place of fear, of uncertainty, of just constant crushing pressure. And instead, you start operating from a place of clarity, of genuine confidence, and real strategy. You finally get to lead the business instead of feeling like you're being dragged along by it.
So this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? When is it actually time? At what point does this go from being a nice-to-have to an absolute must-have for your survival and your growth? How do you really know if you're there yet?
Well, here's a really simple litmus test for you. It's time if you're dealing with unpredictable cash flow, if you have messy profit margins, if your growth is stalled, if you're still getting hit with surprise tax bills, if you're constantly firefighting financially, or you feel that horrible, gut-wrenching fear every time you think about hiring someone new or making a big investment, it's time. Honestly, if even one of those points made you wince a little, you're ready. And the path out of this fog? It's probably a lot clearer than you think. In the first 30 days, you finally get to see the real numbers, the true picture. Within 3 months, you're not just looking at problems, you're actively fixing them with confidence. By about 6 months, your cash flow is stable and profit becomes predictable. And after that, you get to stop being a firefighter and start being the CEO your business actually needs.
Let's end on this, because it's so important. The reason so many amazing founders get stuck is not because they aren't working hard enough. Of course they are. It's because they can't see clearly enough. A virtual CFO doesn't just fix your numbers. They come in, they switch on the lights, they lift the fog, and they give you the clarity you need to make every single decision better. And once you can see clearly, nothing feels impossible anymore.